What is up, everyone? It's Demolition Derby for Life. I'm going to do an aftermath video on the Joker car, guys. Or the Monte Carlo, if you don't know. So, I ran this thing actually twice. I brought this thing to Chaos in Clearwater. Track Shot Live video, or recorded everything. So, you guys, if you watched it, you guys saw me run. And the people that did see me run know I didn't do very good. Both nights, actually. So basically, the first night, the car was running all right. I drove out there. The green flag went down. I went nose to nose with the Toyota Camry wagon. And after that, it was kind of a blur. I know I got basically hit from all over. And after basically a couple minutes out there, I was done. The whole front end of the car basically shoved back and dropped down, and the motor went down with it, and basically it seized up, and I couldn't get it to, it was still running, but I couldn't get it to move in any direction. So in turns, I basically got timed out and I was done. So after the Derby, I decided if I was gonna be gutsy and just go pick up a car and build it right away and run it, which you guys will get to see that car in another video. But I was like, well, do I build that car or do I waste my time and fix it and see if I can go back out and see if I can make it worse? Well, I ended up deciding to fix it. I brought it home. I spent a couple hours. I went to bed about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I got up at 6:30 to go pick up that car, or 7 o'clock to go pick up that other car that I was thinking about running. Got home about 10, 11, and then spent the next few hours fixing this car, and then brought it to the Derby to run, which, so I don't know exactly what happened, but basically I think what happened was the motor started to seize up after the first run. And I brought it to after I brought it to the second one, it still ran, but it ran really poorly. And basically it ended up, it was so underpowered, I couldn't get any movement to get out of it. I don't think it was the transmission. I don't think it was, because I think it was the motor. And basically it ended up, I made a few hits, and then it just kind of bogged down, and I couldn't get any movement out of it. I tried, and after I let it sit for a little bit, then I got some movement out of it again, but I got timed out by the time I got it to move again. So kind of sucked. Honestly, it was probably a waste of time to bring it back again, but hey, I figured why not try to see if I could make it worse. I just spent a few hours fixing it. I put very minimal effort onto fixing it because I knew it was garbage. But I wanted to see if I could make it worse. So, after the Derby, now that I got it home after a day or two, I started up, drove it out the trailer, and decided, you know what? She's got some movement going for her, so I just basically put her to the floor, kept driving back and forth until she basically quit. I was smoking some junk cars I had around here, just having a little bit of fun with it, which I do have actually some video of that, so I will throw that on the end of this video if you guys want to see that. And I made the car a little worse before she basically seized up on me and was completely junk. Or she is completely junk now, so I ain't fixing it. I ain't doing nothing else with it. I'm going to scrap it, pull all the stuff out of it that I need for my next builds. So, yeah. Guys ready to see what she looks like? Granted, a lot of this was just after being home, but I still got to do a little aftermath before I scrap her out, guys. But like I said, the first night, basically what happened was, which actually happened on the passenger side. So basically, after the first night, what happened was, all back in here, everything was pushed basically right where this crease is, was actually pushed all the way back to here. So this whole front of the car was shoved back, and it dropped down right here where I have that plate. Everything dropped straight down. The motor dropped with it. And in turns, there was nothing I could do to keep myself going. So, like I said, after I was done with the Derby, I got it loaded, brought it home right away, and I took my winch, put the chain right on this, or put the winch right on this corner. I started pulling. Everything pulled back and straight all the way. This actually pulled out. I pulled down here to get all this back. And how I actually fixed the motors, I put a chain up here because the motor mount actually gave away. Put a chain up there, lifted the motor up, and I shoved a block of wood underneath just to keep the motor up high enough. I left it up high enough, and she actually she worked. I got some clearance for my tie rods because they were all dropped down too, or CV axles, sorry. So basically, after the first Derby, that's almost exactly, but maybe a little further down actually, how the CV axles were sitting. So in turns, that's kind of what it looked like after the first run. So I basically lifted everything up, shoved the block of wood so it was up high enough, and then I had clearance and I ran it again. Bumper is junk. This is just off of a 73 LTD bumper. They're not very good. I actually seam welded this thing. She's actually bowing in. There isn't really much to these, but it did its job, held everything together. It's not going to be worth pulling off, so I'm going to leave this thing go. Basically everything's going with it. The struts are all bent, all sorts of funky. Oh, also, these like to sit right on top of the tire after they bend a little bit. So what I did is I took a jack, set it on top of the spindle, and jacked this up, and then shoved some metal in there and welded it solid. So this actually works. I'm going to continue to do this on my other ones because this actually helps keep everything from rubbing against your tire. Granted, now, after fooling around with it, because this didn't look like this after the first run. It was starting to kink a little bit, but it wasn't touching the tire. And then I got angry with this car. I was like, you know what? You're going to die, completely die. So I ended up playing around with those, which I will do an aftermath video on that car. Because you guys have never seen this car. I actually just got it from a buddy. Honestly, I'll probably just do it right on this video. There isn't too much to it. So once I'm done with this car, I'll jump over that one too. But basically everything kinked over right into the tire. So I'd rather have it kink out this way than that way. But I wonder how these guys get it to bend straight up. But yeah, you can see like right there, she's kinked. It's straight and then kinked and then it's straight all the way to here. So, but yeah, there's a big old rust hole right in here. So I patched that the best I could and yeah. And another reason why I'm not going to run this car anymore is, besides the motor, is, yeah, there is no floors at all in the back. And this gas tank is barely hanging on. Even on the sides here, there's a lot of rust. So basically this whole floor is going to drop out from underneath me very, very soon. But surprisingly, this thing does turn over. I did end up pretty much locking it up after playing around with it, but she did run for a little bit. Not too much for side damage. This back end actually did very, very well. I'm honestly very happy with how this back end went. This is granted 3 runs on this back end, and I never really even used it, and I got smoked right in this corner. Everything is packing in. These tires are actually perfect. I can't believe how well these actually work. They sit low enough that they're not going to get hit. They basically clear right over the top of them. All the sheet metal gets shoved in. I mean, this back end is going in perfect. This is all crumpling in. She's basically junk though, considering that everything is moving, but the gas tank protector is actually doing what it's supposed to do, keeping everything away from my gas tank. But yeah, she's basically starting to fold in, and yeah, she's pretty much junk. This side's pretty straight yet, and for the most part she is starting to suck in, which is pretty much exactly what I want. So if I would have got smoked on this side, this would have came in, all this would have probably moved, came into the gas tank protector more. But yeah, there's nothing here that's starting to separate here. This car is way too unsafe to run again, so, and she's blown up, so I ain't gonna screw with it anymore. But yeah, she's separating everywhere, and yeah, not really worth my time fixing. So I did the same thing over there with the struts and stuff. It's basically whatever I did over there, I did over here. So, and this side wasn't as bad as that side. But yeah, that's pretty much the aftermath video on this car, guys. I'm pretty happy for the most part with me bringing junk and actually doing semi-decent against some Camrys, but they basically were driving circles around me and I got smoked so many times. But that's actually why I wanted to go out there. I wanted to get drilled. I just wanted to kill this car. This car is just garbage. And I frankly I didn't care enough about it to, I mean, if I really wanted to compete, I would have brought the car that I have sitting in there. But I was like looking at time wise, and if I would have just, instead of fixing this car, I would have had to spend, and I would have half-assed that car and might have done very poorly. It's to a point where I just got to really throw a cage in it, but there's some other things I want to try with it before I actually run it. So I figured, let's just see what happens after I fix this car and have some fun. I thought it would actually run a little bit better, but she basically had no power, and then just today, it just seemed like it all of a sudden had all sorts of power again, or at least enough power to get moving to cause all this damage. But yeah. Oh, I did end up welding my motor mount solid, which I also think helped a little bit with the motor actually staying up a little bit. So, but honestly, she's junk. I don't have any use for it anymore, so I'm going to pull everything I can, and that's about it. Don't worry about that, guys. That's coming up very shortly. So this car I actually got off of a buddy. We were actually supposed to run at the same show together. We lost spark, or he lost fuel pressure or something with it, and after that he lost spark, and basically we gave up on it, and he cut all his stuff out and he brought the car back. I actually bought the tires from him, so these are another set of Lumina tires that I got to put on if I got a Lumina or a Monte. If I plan on running more than one, then I got a couple. These centers are actually just for Luminas, which is kind of cool. So I got another set of small tires. There's some miscellaneous stuff I'll probably end up pulling. Like, I'll probably end up pulling the chain, a few of the chains. They look decent enough to pull. I think I'm going to actually try to cut out that bar there, or at least just cut that side and then just cut straight down there. I want some of that material for this build. I'm going to do the same thing with this car, which you guys seen a while ago. I was actually trying to fix this for my buddy that was supposed to run this one. We couldn't figure this one out, so I tried to get that one going. That thing lost spark too. So that one's getting cut up. this one's getting cut up, that one's getting cut up. I'm not gonna fix that. Don't care to fix this because it's pretty much used up in the front and the back. And screw you, I don't know what's wrong with you, and I'm not gonna deal with it. So that one's getting cut. Like I said, all these are getting cut up. Plus, I kind of need some dumpster cars. So, and I need some more material because I want to start on this build basically this week. This one's gonna be starting very, very soon, guys. So on this one, it's basically just pull a gas tank, cage, and leave the motor and everything go with it. Pull like the radiator, like separate some stuff for scrap. Roof sign, which that's the girlfriend's. She wants that, I'm sure. And we'll pull, which I already pulled the front tires, but we'll pull the back tires as well. And then this thing's going to scrap. So basically, in turns, it's just going to be pull what I put into it, and everything else is going to scrap. Plus, I need the materials because I got a couple more builds I want to get going on. But like I said, I'm going to save the chains. The back end actually went in really well. It's actually starting to like go up a little higher than I would like. Granted, I never ran this one. I actually know who ran this one before my buddy bought it, and he didn't get to run it, so that kind of sucks. But I know who ran it, and he put on a hell of a show where this went last. It was at the Cannon Falls show. I ran actually there at the same time, but in a different class. He ran this thing. He drove it hard. I don't know what place he got, but I know he got Mad Dog with it. And I believe it was an American flag car at one time. So if you guys look at the Cannon Falls show, I'm sure you guys will see it out there. And definitely, if you see this car in that video, definitely just watch it. He put on a hell of a show. And he made this thing junk. And then my buddy tried to fix it to make it even more junk, but didn't work out. So he basically went forward with it the entire time, and yeah. So I'm gonna try to save the chains if I really feel like it. Chain, tires I gotta pull out of here, but no big deal. I probably will save the gas lines. I'm gonna cut whatever, a little bit of that bar out, and then I'll use that for material. Computer's junk. Probably save some of those connectors. What else? I'm gonna save that radiator. I actually screwed that up myself. The thing was straight, now it's got a big old bend in it. It might be okay, but we'll find out. Threaded rod can stay. That stuff can stay. Basically everything underneath the hood's gonna stay. I'll pull the condenser. Maybe I'll pull a few other parts like the alternator and stuff like that. Axles will stay. They're actually duct taped, or one of them is, I think. Yeah, the one side is, because it's starting to pull apart. Yeah, basically I'm not going to save anything because everything else is actually pretty bent. Yeah, I think the strut's actually bent, so yeah, I'm basically just gonna say screw it and just save a few minor things off of this one and stuff it full of junk and send it on its way. I don't know if I'm gonna cut the bumper off. That might be too much of a pain, but we'll see. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but I think we're just gonna leave it go. I don't really feel like wasting my time cutting it off. So that's gonna go with the car. So there ain't too much to save off of this one, but there you go, guys. There's an aftermath video on a couple cars. Nothing too interesting. I think this, if I remember right, my buddy said that this strut was actually good, so I'm gonna pull this strut off as well. And like you can see the duct tape there, and that I'll basically leave the axle go and whatnot. There ain't too much to pull, but there you go, guys. There's an aftermath on a couple cars. They're gonna get cut apart here very shortly, and that's gonna be basically my next build, guys. I'm very behind on videos, but tough, guys. You're just got to keep waiting. But thank you guys for watching my videos. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button if you're new to this channel. We'll catch you guys all in the next video.